Hey everyone, it's Elise. Welcome back to my channel, and I want to talk about how I set goals. Hey, it's about to be the new year. 2024 is around the corner, and this is the season where a lot of people, including myself, think about how 2023 was and reflect and figure out what we want to do in 2024 to better ourselves. It's a season of newness, it's a season of hope, and it's an exciting season because we literally have a set time where it's a new year and we can go after whatever goals we set for ourselves. There's two parts to my process, and I realized this from another YouTuber. Her name is Camila. There is a process of going live with your goal setting, and then there's a process of going deep, and they complement each other. Going live is great because it gets it out of your head and into the world, and physically into the world. Going deep helps your live portion be as successful as it can be because you are passionate about it and you're going as hard as you can to bring it to fruition. So for the first part of going live is that I have to realize that not everything can happen at the same time. Everything that's in my head cannot possibly come out, and that's okay. I would set myself up for failure if I tried to do everything that was in my head. So what I do instead is I set 1 to 2 goals for myself every year. And for example, one of the goals that I had last year was obviously YouTube, and another one was to become a reader. I admire people who read, who love reading. They have all these big words in their vocabulary. They get lost in their book in a corner. They don't care to watch TV, and I admire that, and I've lost that from my formative years. So I decided that I wanted to become a reader. The next thing that I would say is that I'm going to be specific about that goal that I set. It's one thing to say, I want to become a reader, but specifically, you have to say, well, how are you going to become a reader? What is your goalpost? For me is, last year, I wanted to read 10 books a year. I'll say I didn't make it. Right now, I'm on my 6th book. But let's say we're going to do it over again, because that's okay. Sometimes you're not going to reach your goals. 2024, one of my goals will still be, I want to be an avid reader, and I want to read 10 books a year. If I divide that evenly, let's say I want to read a book once a month. That would be 12 books a year. I'm going to keep it at that, even though that's above my goal, because I know life happens. So that's my goal. I want to be a reader, and I want to read 10 books a year. And my strategy to getting to that goal is I'm going to read 1 book a month. The next thing I would say is that now I need to find a way to incorporate the strategy that I have into my daily routine. I'm going to read like 10 pages a day, regardless of the book, because I've had enough experience with the book to realize I can do 10 pages, and even if I'm cringing, I can get through the 10 pages and then stop reading the book and go do something else. But 10 pages a day for me works. And that's what I'm talking about, like having a strategy connected to your goal, because the strategy is going to help you to meet the mini goal points to actually help you meet your goal in that end of the year, end of 5 years, end of a semester, whatever it is. The next thing I would say is also have a non-high pressure timeline. Like, the timeline does not have to be where if you don't make this goal, if it's too tight, you're just going to want to just abandon the goal altogether. For me, and my friends know this, when there's like, how long is it going to take? It's going to take as long as it takes. Because if I don't meet the goal this year, I'm just going to try it again. And I'm going to reassess to see what didn't work last time to figure out how I can make it work this time. So that part of my goal making process kind of takes the edge off, because I know ultimately I'm never going to give this up, or it's very rare that I'm going to give this up. And some people will say, well, then you're kind of giving yourself out. I see it differently. I'm not giving myself out. I'm taking responsibility for the fact that I didn't make the goal, but I'm realistic with myself. And that brings me to that next point. If it's not working, that mini threshold that you set for yourself, I'm not afraid to decrease it some more. So let's say in 2024, since 2023, I couldn't do the reading 15 minutes a day. So in 2024, I'm deciding I'm going to do only 10 pages a day. If I see January, February, it's not working for me and I can't keep up with 10 a day, I'm going to go down to 5. And I don't care what anybody else thinks about it. A lot of times goals are personal, so like nobody really knows. But there are times where you're accountable to other people, and they may think that you are going slower. And it's like, I have to go at my own pace, because if I don't go at my own pace, I'm going to betray myself and I'm going to betray you. I have to be true to what is working for me in this time and space of life right now. But you have to do what you need to do to make sure that you can execute. Many times in my life, I've gotten feedback from people who said, oh, wow, you never really gave up and you've gotten somewhere. And they see the fruit of whatever goal that I made. I'm like, yeah, and it's because I just take my time. I really do. Goals do not have to be expedited. They have to be realistic for you to stick with. Kind of like losing weight. Like if you want to lose 15 pounds, it is recommended you only lose a half a pound to 2 pounds a week. But people want to lose 5 and 10 pounds in a month. Understandably, I get it. But slow and steady really does win the race as far as goal setting and how I've seen fruits come to life for me. And then the last thing I'll say about the going live phase is that now it's time, once you figure out what the goal is, you set mini goals that were specific, you set specific strategies on how to meet those mini goals, and in turn the big goal. Now it's time to go hard and race to fail. I don't know how you could fail with reading, but let's say, for example, with my YouTube channel, racing to fail. Like I'm trying as many things as I can to figure out what works. And I'm okay with failing because now that I failed, I know that's not working. I can move on to the other things that I want to try. And if it works, that's awesome. I'll keep doing that. Now it's time to incorporate something else. But entrepreneurs or anything that you're trying to do, you kind of have to race to fail if it's new territory that you do not know about and how to navigate it. So racing to fail is probably the last part of going live in your goal, because you do not know if something is new. You have to figure it out. A new position. I want to learn as much as I can and honestly make as many mistakes as I can. Hopefully not too detrimental, but I won't make that mistake again. I'm moving on because I failed, and now I'm going, next time I'm going to have to succeed because I know at least I'm not going to do that. So that's the live portion. As far as like going deep, that will help incorporate the going live version and the success of the going live version. I would say the first part is being obsessed with your goal. That may be easier and harder in some aspects depending on the goal, but you still have to be a little obsessed. Like reading does not come to me, but I'm obsessed with the thought of appearing more intelligent because my vocabulary is faster than it was before. But because I want to sound smarter in my daily dialogue, I'm obsessed with that part. So it will help me read a book that isn't really catching on to me, because let me be honest, of the books that I have read, it takes a while for you to find a book that you really like. You have to get through a lot of books that you feel so-and-so about. But it's okay because I'm obsessed. No matter what, all those books, I'm learning some new word, and I'm appreciative of it. For YouTube, I love to talk, so that's not hard for me. That is something that I find more joy in, and it's easier for me. So it's easier for me to be obsessed about it, and I really enjoy it, and I'm learning a lot. And it's making me think about even pivoting to other things that are creative. But you still have to be obsessed, because when you're obsessed, that will help you be consistent in the day in, day out monotony of life. If you're not a little bit obsessed about it, it's going to be harder to reach the goal. But if you are a little bit more obsessed about it, it will keep you in the race longer. The next thing I would say about going deep is researching and learning as much as possible about whatever your goal is. So there's not much that I can think of innately about reading, but let's say example for investing. That was one of my last videos. I don't know anything about the new aspect of investing that I want to do, which is in a brokerage account. I had to learn, and I will have to learn so much more about like who's going to be the managing company, what fees are involved, how often can I invest. I have to research it, and I need to ask questions. I need to ask people in day to day, like, are you involved? Do you have a brokerage account? What has been your experience? But that will only help me in my live portion of setting goals. Like for example, I may put $100 a month into a brokerage account. That's that mini goal, but it'll tell me like how often I need to invest that 100. Do I just invest 100 at the end of the month, or should I do 25 each week? Educating yourself and researching helps the depth of your goal and the potency of the result that you're going to get out of your goal. The next one that I would say is don't be so obsessed with getting it right all the time, because that's not really required. What's required is effort. Effort works better than talent all the time, or almost all the time. And nothing works harder than hard work. If I could answer like how I accomplish my goals, I would say the number one thing is I just do it. I don't worry about being perfect. I make the best educated guesses that I can make. Again, that's from researching and asking questions, but I just go for it. That's the Aries in me. Like, I'm just gonna do it and I'm gonna figure it out later. But I go for it routinely and consistently in a disciplined manner. And that just takes effort. It doesn't take a lot of brains. It just takes the effort of you waking up, hopefully, and doing what you said you were gonna do. Being good some days and being terrible at it the rest of the days. It's okay. It averages out. You wake up and in a year, you will be like, damn, I got somewhere. Okay, I got somewhere. Imagine if I didn't do it though, because I wasn't perfect. And then the last thing that I would say is make your goals scary. That you can't get deeper than that. Like, set a goal. That may seem crazy to everybody else, may seem crazy to you, but it's okay. And the point of making it scary is Because if you make it scary, even if you don't reach that scary level, you would have reached so much more as if you made it super safe. Challenge myself. If after 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, I see that I'm not keeping up, that's where we go back to the live portion where I de-escalated a little bit. But even de-escalating a little bit still helps me be at my goal. But if your dreams don't scare you, there's that saying, they're not big enough. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any other suggestions, please let me know down in the comments. And I'm looking forward to seeing some suggestions you guys have for me. And I'll see y'all next week.